This really is like a tradition at this point, isn't it, MGT? Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the most interactive show on the interweb. Welcome back to Wrestling with Omer. At this point, this is not a bit, by the way, everyone. For whatever reason, my mic, whenever I do a stream, whenever I'm recording a video, it's fine. Whenever I try to do a stream, though, or I try to do a podcast live, it just says, nah, I'm not feeling it. But it's okay. We got to figure it out. I see MGT's in the chat. Guys, if you're just joining us, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, if you're joining us in the chat, as MGT is, be sure to leave a question, comment, whatever. You guys drive this show, so please leave your questions and we will get to them. If you want to guarantee your question or statement gets read out on the air also, be sure to leave a super chat. Super duper. We've got some things to get to today. We got news about an AEW streaming service potentially happening. We have some interesting match types coming to WWE, as well as news of Brock Lesnar and potential backstage heat on him following the Royal Rumble. A lot to get to, very little time. Like, subscribe, notification, bell, bing. All right, let's start with the news of the day, that being the AEW streaming service. I know that there are a lot of people out there who have been waiting for AEW to open up their own streaming service. People are still wondering about what the future of Honor Club is going to be, and as far as when they're going to get the TV. People are wondering, is AEW going to be maybe merged in with HBO Max? A lot of things to consider. I'm reading this aggregation from Wrestling Observer. It says, and I quote, an article in Bloomberg released Thursday revealed that the company is, quote, considering starting a streaming service, unquote, and notes the potential deal could involve its broadcast partner, Warner Brothers Discovery. Here is a quote from the article. Quote, AEW is considering starting a streaming service, likely through a deal with its broadcast partner, Warner Brothers Discovery, according to a person familiar with management's thinking, who asked not to be named. Now, I'm going to talk about what this means and how much we should really take this into account. But I want to start off by saying that news that AEW is thinking about having a streaming service should not surprise anyone. In fact, they already really do have a streaming service for their biggest content library, that being Honor Club with Ring of Honor. And I think that maybe wires got crossed here, or maybe whatever, they have a bad source. You know, I mean, look, mainstream sources are great. They are great for wrestling exposure. They're great to get people talking and all that stuff. But that doesn't necessarily mean they have the correct connections or they have people in right places to tell them the right things. Sometimes you're just being fed information from people who have an agenda. That's very much the case in media, but that comes to the argument of media literacy and all that stuff that I'm not going to get into right now. What I will talk about is this news story and what I really think of it. So for me, I think this is one of those things you really take with a grain of salt. Is the end goal for AEW to get a streaming deal with HBO Max through Warner Brothers Discovery or one of their other entities? Of course it is. Of course it is. That's where the money is. That's where the staying power is. That's where AEW's value is, especially considering they have a content library with Ring of Honor. That's the future of entertainment. That's just what it is. So of course they're thinking about it, and of course that's their goal. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get there, or that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get it tomorrow. I think people people are kind of overstating the whole, oh, well, now this means it confirmed AEW is going to have AEW Plus, or they're going to have the AEW app or whatever in America and all that stuff. No, I don't think that's not what this story is telling. What this story is telling is AEW is wants to start something. They want to get in on the streaming service action. And this is why I think that this story is a little misguided, is how I would put it. I don't think that right now they're gonna like sign a deal, like they're considering signing a deal with Warner Brothers over a streaming service. I think what AEW is doing now, from what outside looking in, is they have Honor Club, which is their biggest library, which allows them to showcase all these great talents for decades long, these decades long talents, like the Briscoes, like Bryan Danielson, like Kenny Omega, all these guys, right? You own their entire careers, basically. So with that, I think what you do is you kind of do, in a way, what WWE did with the network, even though this wasn't their intention. Because what happened with the WWE network was they started their own network with their existing tape library. They expanded, they bought other tape libraries, and they eventually created a massive a massive library of content that over 1 million people were paying for. And what happened? Peacock saw that and said, well, of those 1 million and plus people, X amount aren't subscribed to Peacock. Let's see if we can get some of those people over, have some consistent content, some consistent and cheaply made content that people are going to keep coming back to and keep subscribing to our service with. That's the value in AEW in a streaming deal. If you can show, and it's not going to be to the level of WWE, they're not going to get 1 million people to subscribe to Honor Club or AEW Plus or whatever the hell. It's going to be one of those things of they're going to have an audience, and I'm not sure what that's going to be. Maybe it's 400,000, maybe it's 250. I don't know. I legit, I'm not going to pretend to know. But they're going to have an audience that's willing to pay for it, and over time, they're going to have that proof of concept. Like, hey, this is not even like a plan. This is tangible goods that we can provide HBO Max, that we can provide Amazon Prime or whoever. Like, we have this library, we have X amount of people subscribe to it, and there's value in this for you if you sign us to an exclusive streaming deal, blah, 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 blah. And it's a pretty simple business concept. I just don't think that at this point it would be smart for AEW to be like, hey, we're going to start AEW Plus and also have Honor Club at the same time. At this point, just merge them into one thing. If you want Honor Club to be your thing, make it Honor Club. If you want like it to be AEW Plus, just call Honor Club AEW Plus and start slowly putting AEW content out there. Or if you want to do a deal with Bleacher Report, because I'm pretty sure the Bleacher Report like app is basically just AEW content. Like, I think they lost their rights to some of the soccer content they used to have on there. So now it's just like AEW content on there. So maybe that's what you do. Maybe that's the future. But my thing is, I think Honor Club or whatever they're going to be calling it is going to be their essentially like their test run to tell a company like Amazon, like HBO Max, hey, notice us, we have an audience, and now pay us for that audience. Because that's how this works. That's how it works. MGT in the chat says, did you watch Ango's latest video? I did not. I did catch his Dynamite review stream, but I have not watched his latest video. Says WWE confirmed the new gimmick, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Look, I mean, that's actually what I was planning to talk about that today, but since you mentioned it, we might as well just get into it. If you guys want to talk about AEW and their streaming deal, we can, but we can later, but let's talk about it, because I already have the graphics pulled up about it. Like, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I am. So, okay. Let's go backwards and talk about this sponsored deal. And WWE fans are going to be mad about this, rightfully so, because it's a pretty ridiculous thing. It's a pretty ridiculous thing for this to happen. So WWE Senior VP of Global Sales and Partnerships said the following about the company's plans. I don't want to give too much away, but Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. Anyway, but WWE's VP of Global whatever confirmed a brand sponsorship match at WrestleMania 39. It's got a lot of people thinking about maybe they're going to do something close to the Pitch Black match, which, as a Bray Wyatt fan, I can 100% say absolute hot garbage is what that was. But I mean, look, again, if I'm a WWE fan, I'm mad. I am angry because the Pitch Black match was bad. But could you imagine a Cinnamon Toast Crunch Power Hour Battle Royale? That would be worse. That would be worse. Like, here's the thing. Sponsored match types can work in pro wrestling. You want to know an example of a sponsored match type that worked in pro wrestling? The Cracker Barrel Clash. And MGT, I know you're not a big AEW fan, but hear me out. The Cracker Barrel Clash was exactly what it needed to be. It wasn't some overpowering, over gimmicked like thing like this Pitch Black match was. The Cracker Barrel Clash was a no holds barred match, falls count anywhere, all that jazz, with a few Cracker Barrel barrels surrounding the ring that people crashed into a few times and used as weapons, which was dope. If they do this, and the Mountain Dew, okay, my problem with the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, by the way, was not that, oh my God, it was this overly gimmick thing. My problem was it was this overly gimmicky, like childish, capitalistic, whatever, that you involved Bray Wyatt, who you're trying to build up as a serious guy, as a serious threat. And you automatically associate him now with Mountain Dew, with a sponsored match. The entire time, you're supposed to be taking this like somewhat seriously. You're like, Bray Wyatt, sponsored by Mountain Dew, Pitch Black. Like, what the hell? What the hell? This demon, it's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. And the glow in the dark crap, like, come on, guys. It was stupid. If it's going to be something like, hey, Snickers presents I don't know, Snickers presents the submission, the submission, I don't know, ultimate submission presented by Snickers. That would be fine. Because it's not, the gimmick isn't supposed to overpower the match. In this case, the gimmick and the sponsorship overpowered the match. That was my main problem with this whole deal. MGT in the chat says, WWE don't care about how bad the sponsorship matches are as long as they're making bank. And look, they are. According to a report, WWE is set to have like 15 sponsors for WrestleMania, somewhere around there, and they're supposed to make somewhere between like $14 to $15 million for sponsorships throughout WrestleMania. Like they got they got Pepsi, they got all that stuff. Like they're gonna make bank, right? My whole thing is that's fine. I have no problem with WWE being like, hey, we're gonna sponsor a match or two and do all that stuff. My thing is, if you're gonna have it be like gimmicky and really overpowering like this, just make it like a throwaway match. Make it like, like Elias versus Boogs in a Guitar Hero a Guitar Hero match or something like that. Don't make it serious Bray Wyatt versus someone we're trying to build up in LA Knight in a Mountain Dew Pitch Black match with Mountain Dew Pitch Black on the canvas. Like it was bad. It was really bad. MGT says, I feel so bad for LA Knight being put in that position. You should feel bad for him. You should. It was shitty booking. It was shitty booking. It was a shitty match. It was a shitty time. By the way, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But yeah, I mean, it's not great. It's not great. If there is going to be a Cinnamon Toast Crunch Battle Royale, I'll be the first one to be like, I'm going to watch it for how terrible it is. But I'm not going to pretend like it's going to be good. I'm not going to. Not after what WWE showed me, the way that they handle sponsored matches. That was too much. The Pitch Black match was absolutely god-awful. You cannot convince me otherwise. Again, Bray Wyatt fan speaking here, and I feel like I have to say that. I have to make that clarification every single time because I was a huge fan of the Fiend, and I was a huge fan of Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse and all that stuff. But what he's doing, that I'm along for the ride. I was along for the ride. I let it play out. Garbage, hot, stinking, out in the sun, garbage, terrible. Now hit that like button and subscribe, people. Damn it. But yeah, I mean, it's just, what else do you want me to say? Like it's garbage. Then it's gonna be garbage at Mania probably. If they put Bray Wyatt, they make Bray Wyatt like the sponsored match dude from now on. It's not gonna be good for his career. It's just gonna you're gonna lose fans like me as far as what WWE's doing with them, and it's just gonna be bad. So don't do it, WWE. MGT in the chat says, "Hey, are we going to talk about the TNT Hot Potato title?" I know Ango last night was talking about that. So here's my thoughts on it. My thoughts on the TNT title is that I think that there are ways to hot potato belts that make sense, that are good, that make for good television. And remember, at the end of the day, people want to view this as a secondary belt. It is a secondary belt, and it is a prize that people can go after. But first and foremost, it is a television title to be defended on television. And what happens? What happens more often than not? Television's every week, guys. It's not a pay-per-view where you have the title defended maybe once every few months. Title's going to be defended probably every other week on average if you were talking about the TNT title, right? So in that case, you're going to have more champions. You're going to have more title changes. That's why, and look, for me, there's a difference between changing the titles from Joe to Darby back to Joe this quickly than what they did at the beginning of last year in 2022, where they had Sammy, then Cody, then Sammy again, and then they went to Scorpio Sky, and then they went so on and so on, right? That, I think that was too much hot potatoing that didn't make sense, that didn't even make for good television. The difference between the title changes, and I think it's also, honestly, a perception thing and what people prefer, right? It's a preference thing, too. I'm totally fine with what they did and what they have been doing because it's been entertaining. The matches have been great. And I believe, from a storyline perspective and a character perspective, I believe that this is something that could happen. Samoa Joe could be like, I'm getting my rematch and I'm taking back my title. And I enjoyed it. And we can talk. And I don't think that this diminishes. I don't think it's fair. And I don't think it's honestly, to compare this to hot potatoing like there was last year in the TNT title, because that was just hot potatoing for the sake of doing it. This is, I think, to make good television, and it does. No one can, at the end of the day, no one can watch that match, and no one can watch the matches that Darby and Samoa Joe have been having and tell me that that's not good television. No one can watch the last few weeks of Dynamite, honestly, and all the title changes that have happened, and tell me that it's not good television. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, at least for me. And that's why I don't have as much of a problem with the hot potato, and I wouldn't really classify this as a hot potato, because to me, the hot potato thing is it's the Vince Russo thing, right? Bro, we're gonna change the title 4 times in a night, bro, and it's gonna be huge, bro. No, it's not that. This is, we are going to build stars, have great matches, and the title is going to change hands. Again, it's a TV title. And again, if it's a thing where you view the TNT title as the Intercontinental title, then okay, maybe you should be upset. But if you view it as a television title first, it is what it is. I don't have a problem with it. I thought it was a great match. I thought it was great television. And we'll see. MGT says, so has Wardlow been brought back to lose to Joe? We'll find out. I mean, this could very well be a story of Wardlow taking the title at Revolution. And again, I'd be fine with that too. And it's not And again, I think it's unfair to compare this. Like, the online discourse has been crazy about this. People compared this to the 24/7 championship. I'm like, all right, get out of here. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous for people to compare this to the 24/7 championship. Titles change hands, guys. Look at the Attitude Era, the most successful period in professional wrestling history. Look back at that and then tell me that this is a hot potato situation. Like, if it's good TV, it's good TV. That's my opinion. I like, and it's, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it, but because again, it's not one of those things where I'm like vehemently like, oh my god, if you think this is hot potato when you're dang blah, blah, blah. Like, nah, man. Like, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. You're not gonna like a lot of the stuff on TV, or you're not gonna like all the stuff you see on TV, and that's fine. I don't like all the stuff I see on Dynamite. I don't like all the stuff I see on Raw. I don't like all the stuff I see on my favorite TV show, House of the Dragon. But I still watch it because I like other stuff, and that's what keeps me going. You don't have to like everything. We got Crash in the chat says, I like the Xbox Series X. Oh, I think I have the Series S because because I don't really play video games too much. So I only need like 2 or 3 at a time. So I have the S. Also, I'm cheap as all hell. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, by the way. But yeah, I mean, it is a preference thing, in my opinion, and if you didn't like it, it's fine, and it's fair. It's fair. No, you don't have to like everything. I don't know. I thought the match was killer, though. That's just me. I thought the match was killer, and if I'm wrong for that, internet, I apologize. I guess maybe. Crash saying I like Kane. I don't. I mean, I'm fine. Here's the thing. I am totally fine with Kane. I am not fine with big old bigoted Glenn Jacobs, Mayor Glenn Jacobs of Knox County, Tennessee. Not a fan of him at all. Yeah, no, go look that shit. Don't go look at his Twitter. I don't want to give that man any publicity. MGT in the chat says, "Are you planning on buying Fight Forever if it ever comes out?" Yeah, I mean, I know the Bloomberg story also said that Fight Forever was coming out later this month, but that doesn't seem to be the case because I think I think a few people, like a few reputable people like Sean Ross Sapp have kind of like refuted that, like being like, "Hey, this might not be happening actually." And on top of that, like if this game was going to be released later this month, they would have announced it by now. They 100% would have announced it by now. They just I don't know. I thought it was going to be released last year, but as soon as it is, I'm going to buy it because it's cool. Like it reminds me of games from back in my day. MGT says, maybe it should be called Wait Forever. Wait Forever. That's a good one. That's a really good one, MGT. Guys, join MGT in the chat. Ask your questions. Hit that like button. Subscribe. All that jazz. We're heading down the home stretch. It's going to be a 30-minute show today. I am tired as all hell. I'll try to do another stream later this weekend if possible. And we also got daily videos as well. But we'll probably stop in about 5 minutes or so. Oh, the other thing that I didn't even talk about was the Brock Lesnar thing. So let me talk about that real quick because this was an interesting thing. Plus, it's in the title, so I should talk about it. So, per Fightful, Brock Lesnar took it upon himself, apparently, when he got eliminated from the Royal Rumble, to throw referee Eddie Orengo, hopefully I'm saying that right, over the barricade during his post-elimination tirade. There was reportedly some concern about the referee suffering a foot injury on the spot. Isn't known if that's the case. And apparently this referee was the one who was supposed to raise Cody's hand after winning the men's rumble, and that was all changed as he went backstage to sell the attack, because once you get attacked by Brock Lesnar, you can't just get up and be like, when you're a referee especially, you can't just be like, okay, yeah, this guy wins and I'm all right. No, you got to sell it. You got to go in the back, brother, all the way down the long ass ramp in the Alamo Dome, brother. So yeah, I mean, like, what do I think of this? Honestly, look, if Brock did not like get clearance to put his hands on someone. I don't think he should have put his hands on someone legitimately. And there does seem to be some backstage heat from him. Nothing's going to happen to him because he's Brock Lesnar. This dude was on the juice. He was caught doing steroids. And WWE's response was, well, we don't test part-timers. So Brock got away with it. Like, it is what it is. The rules don't apply to Brock. There's not going to be any reprimand for him on this. Like, I still stand by that. You should, if you're a wrestler, you shouldn't put your hands on especially a non-wrestler, if you don't have like the consent to do so beforehand. Like, that's not a cool thing to do, because especially when you're Brock Lesnar and you can like literally murder people with your bare hands and you're that strong. But that being said, it seems like he's fine. Hopefully he's fine. Hopefully the referee's fine. If not, then my best wishes to him. Crash in the chat says, I don't know why you don't like Kane. He's the best. I love Kane. I don't like Glenn Jacobs. There's a difference between the two. Kane on TV, like, is part of is one of the best like stories in wrestling, or one of the best origin stories, I should say, in wrestling of all time. Glenn Jacobs is just a bigot on Twitter who posts hateful stuff because he's a little snowflake who gets his whatever. I'm not gonna get into that. Whatever. I don't. He's not a good guy in real life. That's all I will say. From the outside looking in, he does not seem to me a good guy. At least not my kind of good guy. But it is what it is. Did mark out for that's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane. MGT in the chat says, Brock refused to wrestle KO and Jinder, and he was granted that per appearance contract because he has creative control. I'm not sure if he has like creative control, but I think there is one of those things where, it is just one of those things where if Brock doesn't like something, Brock ain't going to do it. He'll just be like, well, whatever. I'm not doing it. Because he's Brock Lesnar. I mean, the rules don't apply to him. This man juiced. Got caught on the juice, and then nothing happened. So, what are you gonna do? Yeah. Well, this was an interesting one. This was an interesting show, guys. I'm sorry, gotta cut it short right now, but I've enjoyed this time. I hope you guys have as well. We'll have more videos. We'll have more shorts up on the channel as well. Be sure, if you haven't already done so, to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever the hell else you're listening to this on, be sure to leave a 5-star review. Subscribe, youtube.com/Real Take Wrestling. Crash in the chat says, I don't like his ponytail. Kane has a ponytail? Wait, when did Kane have a ponytail? There's no way Kane had a ponytail. Oh, are you talking about like the weird hair he had like when he took off his mask? Well, yeah, maybe then. MGT says, I think Cody has some creative control too. I don't think many people have creative control in WWE. Here's the thing. There is a difference between creative control and creative input, and also just not willing to do something. Those are three different things, right? Because I'm not sure if there's anyone really in wrestling right now that has full-on creative control to the extent that Hulk Hogan did back in the 90s. But I do think that there are people who have like a certain amount of creative input, meaning I get to have a say in what I'm doing. It doesn't necessarily mean I get to bury everyone or whatever, but I get to have a say in where my character's going. And then I think you have like the Brock Lesnar space where it's just like, if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to show up because I don't need the money and I can just go to my farm in Saskatchewan and do whatever, right? Crash says, I don't like Brock Lesnar's ponytail. Why not? It's like the best thing about Brock. I mean, he'd kill me if he ever heard me say that. So don't ever tell him I said that. But I don't know. I like it. It's like a new era of Brock. I like Cowboy Brock, honestly. Especially whenever he comes out, confronts Bobby Lashley. He's like, hey, Bobby. And he like puts on like that Southern accent. I'm like, what are you doing, Brock Lesnar? MGT likes it as well. And I like you guys. I like each and every one of you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're old like MGT, ancient geezer like MGT. Still welcome as well. Guys, I've had so much fun today. I'm going to go take a nap because I really need one. Until next time, be happy, be healthy. Let me know the type of content you guys want to see. Put it in the comment section after this goes on video on demand, or comment in another video. Let me know what you guys want to see. Until next time, keep it real.